Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of the Education Abroad Fair. If this is your first fair session, then welcome. We're happy to have you. I'll talk in a little bit about how you can access some of the sessions from earlier this week. If you've already attended or watched some other fair sessions, I hope you found them engaging and informative. This afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit about international internship programs. I'll do some introductions here shortly, but I want to start with the CSU Land Acknowledgement. Colorado State University acknowledges with respect that the land we're on today is the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Ute nations and peoples. This was also a site of trade, gathering, and healing for numerous other native tribes. We recognize the indigenous peoples as original stewards of this land and all the relatives within it. As these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard, the ties nations have to their traditional homelands are renewed and reaffirmed. CSU is founded as a land grant institution, and we accept that our mission must encompass access to education and inclusion, and significantly, that our founding came at a dire cost to Native nations and peoples whose land this university was built upon. This acknowledgement is part of the education and inclusion we must practice in recognizing our institutional history, responsibility, and commitment. If you would like to turn this land acknowledgement into action, I would encourage you to reach out to the CSU Native American Cultural Center to learn more about how you can engage with, support, and advocate for Native tribes whose land we occupy. As I mentioned, my name is Christopher Snodgrass. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I am an Education Abroad coordinator, and I advise for the UK and Ireland and international internships. Joining me today is my colleague, Derek Smallwood, who will serve as the moderator for this session. Thanks for being here, Derek. Our webinar does not have a chat function, but there is a Q&A where you can post questions and interact with Derek. We'll end the session with a few minutes for questions, but feel free to push your questions as we go as well. So first, let's just talk about how international internships work. CSU works closely with a number of different partner providers to deliver international internship opportunities in a wide range of areas of study and career fields around the world. These programs are fully customized to your interests and your career path. Once accepted into a program, our partner provider will meet with you one-on-one to discuss your goals, what you would like to get out of the internship, and then utilize their network of connections to find an internship placement that meets your needs. Typically, international internships involve 32 to 40 hours per week, and they run 8 to 15 weeks. During summer internship programs, participants are essentially intern full-time, while many semester-long programs involve part-time internships with some academic coursework as well. It's important to note that international internships are almost always unpaid. The reason for this is largely due to interns being classified as students for visa and immigration purposes, and being gainfully employed while in another country can greatly complicate the visa process, and in some cases even violate the conditions of your status in the country. International internships are, however, for-credit experiences, and there are a few different pathways for earning academic credit for your internship that we'll discuss more in a bit. There are costs associated with an international internship, just as with any education abroad experience. When we talk about the program fee for an internship, that typically includes things like your housing, the service of actually finding your placement, insurance, on-site orientation, and social programming. Additional costs would include things like airfare, meals, in-country transportation, and personal expenses. You can always schedule an advising appointment to talk through the budget for any internship program and get a better idea of all the costs involved. So let's talk about where you can intern internationally. The answer is truly just about anywhere. CSU administers internship programs in places like Dublin, Ireland, all across New Zealand, Valencia, Spain, and Prague, Czech Republic. These programs operate through long-standing partnerships, and each location is very popular with CSU students. In addition to the CSU programs, we have 10 affiliate partner organizations, and many of them offer their own internship programs in places like Berlin, Germany, and Tokyo, Japan. If you're interested in checking out these additional opportunities, again, you can schedule an advising appointment anytime to discuss them or use our program search tool on the Education Abroad website to search for internships. Another great resource is an organization called Going Global. It's a great resource you can use for free as a CSU student. Working together with the Career Center, Going Global can be a very useful tool in finding internship opportunities around the world yourself. And then lastly, utilizing your own personal, academic, and professional connections can prove effective in finding internship opportunities as well. So with all these different opportunities available to you, all the different forms that an international internship can take, should you go with an established program? Should you go a more independent route? Really, each has its own advantages and drawbacks. And so it really comes down to what makes the most sense for you. With established CSU programs, you can rest assured the program provider in every aspect of the experience is trusted, has been thoroughly vetted, and that other CSU students have completed this program. These programs provide a simplified, straightforward process from application to conclusion, and your placement is guaranteed with these programs. What that means is if you're accepted into the program, you will get an international internship placement. Lastly, our partner providers have vast networks of connections in the regions where they operate, and you can benefit from those connections through the placement process. Some of the drawbacks for CSU programs is they're sometimes more expensive just due to the level of support that you receive through the program, their costs associated with that support, and you have a little less control as your location options are limited to the areas where CSU programs operate and the partner providers finding your placement rather than you finding it yourself. So as customized as they are, and even though we have multiple destinations, you have a little bit less control yourself over where those destinations are and exactly where you're placed. For the more independent route, you can potentially save some money. This comes at the expense of giving up layers of support, obviously, but it can be a little bit less expensive. You also have more control over the experience yourself, but of course that also comes with more risk and responsibility that you're taking on yourself. It also gives you an opportunity to work within your existing professional network. The cons of a more independent experience are taking on more responsibility and risk personally. The placements are almost always highly competitive, so you're not guaranteed a placement. You can apply, interview for a placement, but you're not guaranteed a spot. And the experience can potentially be isolating just without those layers of support and without fellow interns around you like you would have with an established program. Ultimately, for us, our goal is to help you identify the opportunity that makes the most sense for you and support you in that endeavor. So once you identify the program that's right for you, you'll want to know how you're getting academic credit for this. As I mentioned earlier, there's a few different pathways to earning academic credit through an internship. The first is through what we call CSU departmental credit. This means your academic department themselves may have an internship or a service learning or an independent study or a research course you can enroll in to get credit for the internship. This would be a course you would enroll in while you're interning. Typically just kind of formalizes the credit process. There's typically not a ton of additional work involved. And they do typically have to kind of review and vet what the internship itself looks like once we get that information to ensure that it meets their standards. You can work with your academic advisor or your ASC to learn about options through your academic department, what courses they may have available that would work for this. And I do want to note that there are some departments on campus that require students to take this path to get academic credit. So if your degree plan requires an internship, your department may require that you take their course and get their credit in order to meet that qualification. The second option is also CSU credit, but it's a course run through the Office of International Programs called IE 387, Intercultural Internships. This course is only available during the summer, as the vast majority of CSU students completing international internships do so during the summer. This course is a really great option if your department prefers or requires CSU credit, or if you personally would prefer CSU credit for an internship, but your department does not have their own course. It's also really useful in some cases because some of our partner providers don't offer the third option I'm about to talk about, transfer credit. And so for some students, this is the option that makes the most sense. When our partner providers do offer transfer credit, it is often the most affordable option. Many of our partner providers offer their own internship course. Again, you take while you're interning, and credit is earned through another university that they partner with. These credits then transfer back to CSU as transfer credits, and we can work with you on the front end so that you know exactly how these credits will transfer back to CSU and what degree requirements these credits may fulfill long before you ever leave. If you're still wondering why academic credit is such a big deal, why you would even need academic credit for an internship, there's a few reasons. Many countries require interns to be enrolled in credit-based programs, again, for visa and immigration purposes. This is based on interns being classified as students for entry purposes. Earning academic credit also helps you fulfill some degree requirements while you're interning. So you're engaging in professional development, career enrichment, and also moving closer to graduation at the same time. Lastly, earning academic credit provides access to financial aid, grants, loans, and scholarships, which are typically not available if you're not earning academic credit. So let's talk a little bit about budgets. Each internship program, be it a CSU program or otherwise, has its own unique budget that's based on cost of living and interning in different parts of the world. For CSU programs, we can provide a really clear and thorough budget that's meant to show you both what CSU will charge you and the personal expenses that you can expect to pay yourself. So when we talk about a program charge, that amount typically includes the placement services. So the organization actually going out and finding you an internship, housing, 24/7 emergency support, insurance, local orientation, and social programming as well. The CSU budget will also show you a detailed estimate of additional costs, such as flights and meals, things that CSU is not going to charge you for, but that you would be expected to pay during your internship, just so that you have a really good understanding of how much it'll cost to participate in this particular program. On average, the total cost for an 8-week CSU internship, which is all of our summer internships, 8 weeks is a really common period of time for an internship, is between $9,000 and $10,000. The good news is you can potentially access financial aid to help cover some of that cost, which is, again, why it's important that you're getting academic credit. Students are often surprised whether they're going on an academic program, research, internship, etc., to learn that the majority of your scholarships, grants, loans, financial aid can go abroad with you. To learn more about financial aid and how it applies to education abroad, you can join us every day of the fair at 9:30 a.m. So tomorrow morning, the last day of the fair, there will be a financial aid and scholarships presentation. I would encourage you all to join. There you can meet Cindy and Evelyn, who are pictured here. They work in the Office of Financial Aid and work with students on education abroad programs specifically. The presentation tomorrow morning will focus on scholarships and financial aid, and the session is live, so you can bring your questions into the session with you. Scholarships will really rarely fully fund your program, again, whether it's an academic program or an internship, but they can close the gaps between your current financial aid and what you'll need to go abroad. We'll also have scholarship and fundraising workshops throughout the year, so you can identify additional sources of funding. You can make an appointment with the Financial Aid for Education Abroad advisors by going to the Financial Aid and Scholarships page under the Student section of the Education Abroad website. At an appointment, you can look at your current financial aid package specifically, so the grants, loans, and scholarships that you already received, and they can give you an idea of what of that money can you take abroad with you. It is important to note, as many internships again take place over the summer, some financial aid can function a little differently for summer terms, making it even more important that you meet with Cindy and Evelyn to talk through your financial aid package specifically and how it can be applied to an internship program. The first rule with scholarships is always know the deadlines. I would recommend paying particular attention to this slide as our scholarship deadlines are shifting over the next year. So just make sure that you know if you're going abroad this summer or if you're planning to go abroad next summer, when those scholarship deadlines would fall for you. You can contact the financial aid advisors for education abroad directly by emailing specialprograms@colostate.edu. All right, so you're ready to intern abroad. How can you actually make this happen? Let's talk about some action items and next steps to get you going. First, schedule an advising appointment with me through Navigate, our online scheduling system. You can find Navigate through the Contact Education Abroad page on the Education Abroad website. Appointments are currently available Monday through Thursday. We offer appointments both virtually and in person. You should also meet with your academic advisor just to express your interest in an international internship. Let them know that you would like to participate in an international internship. Discuss degree requirements that may be relevant to your degree plan, and discuss academic credit options. Again, asking, does the department have their own course that they would want you to take? Would they accept transfer credit, etc.? Largely, to be honest, the academic credit option that's going to make the most sense for you comes down to what your department would prefer or what your department requires. And so that's an important part of the conversation, and it's really important that we're involving your academic advisor or your ASC in this process. You can also ask them about any grants or scholarships that may be offered through your department. Many CSU colleges and departments have grants and scholarships specifically for their students going abroad, and your advisor, your ASC, is a great resource for those. Though I'm the primary advisor for all international internships around the world, our entire Education Abroad team can serve as a tremendous resource to you as you plan to go abroad. Our coordinators, pictured here, each specialize in advising for specific world regions, meaning you can meet with a coordinator to talk about life in the country in which you're interested in interning. Additionally, for hybrid programs that involve both internships and academic coursework, very commonly over a full semester, like I talked about earlier, where you're taking some classes and also interning, kind of doing each part-time, I'll work together with your regional coordinator to support you throughout that program. Our office also has 3 peer advisors who are critical members of our team. Our peers have all gone abroad with CSU and are a tremendous resource to you as a CSU student. Our peers have open advising hours throughout the week, during which you can meet with them to learn more about the student experience and the student perspective of being abroad. To learn more about our peer advisors or to check out their open advising schedule, you can visit the Contact Education Abroad page on the EA website. Lastly, before we get to some questions, in addition to this presentation, I just want to promote some other sessions throughout the fair. We encourage you to attend both an Education Abroad 101 presentation and a financial aid and scholarship presentation. Both of those sessions are held every single morning. So we will have an Education Abroad 101 and a financial aid and scholarship presentation tomorrow morning at 9 and 9:30. And then I wanted to highlight 2 types of sessions at the fair. Sessions specific to world regions you may be interested in, where you can learn more about studying in the UK and Ireland, for example, and sessions specific to your academic college as well. These sessions have been going on all week, and they will continue today and tomorrow. If you've missed a session that you're interested in, you can always watch the recordings of every single fair session anytime on the CSU International Programs YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search for CSU International Programs. Thank you very much for joining us today, and if we have any questions, we can address those now.
Questions yet, but we'll wait a moment just because we started a little later.
Sure. If you do have any questions that come up after the session is over, really common, oh, I should have asked about that. Like I said, you can email me directly, christopher.snodgrass@colostate.edu. You can schedule an advising appointment, come in and meet with me in person or virtually anytime.
Wait a moment more here. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you.